Some hunters walk alone, and their loneliness is its own kind of strength. For the hunted, rest is a luxury that no one can truly afford. Dark banks and reeds stand in contrast against the glowing surface. The rising sun gives water a different colour from the land around it. At dawn, the smallest stream can appear like a line of light across the plains. Moist air above water may create a veil of mist near the surface. This low haze disappears quickly once the sun gains strength. For a brief time, water and sky seem connected by the same soft colour. Dawn reduces the harsh division between earth, air and water. The landscape appears unified beneath the early light. Scattered trees emerge from the mist like distant islands. Their crowns catch colour before their trunks become visible. Branches trace dark patterns against the brightening background. Every gap in the branches allows a narrow beam to reach the ground. The geometry of each canopy becomes clearer at sunrise. The low light passes through leaves and creates a layered silhouette. Birds perched high in the branches are often outlined before they can be seen clearly. These beams move as the sun climbs and the leaves shift in the breeze. Morning light makes the canopy appear lighter and more open. Wet soil darkens and makes the new growth appear even brighter. The plains respond unevenly according to where rain has fallen. One area may flourish, while another remains dusty and pale. This patchwork guides movement across the wider landscape. Fresh grass creates temporary centres of abundance. The arrival of moisture redraws the ecological map of the savannah. The first green layer is often delicate but widespread. Brief rain can awaken seeds that have waited through months of dryness. Roots become active long before tall vegetation returns. Some plants respond within days, while others remain dormant for longer. The plains recover from below before the change becomes obvious from afar. The speed of renewal depends on soil, temperature, and the depth of moisture. New growth first fills cracks and low places where water collects. Each new leaf begins rebuilding the productivity of the grasslands. The savannah carries the ability to renew itself beneath an apparently lifeless surface. Dormancy allows the landscape to wait without surrendering its future. Many species continue growing from points protected close to the soil. The grasslands are built to endure repeated use. Grazing removes older leaves while leaving the base able to recover. Other areas grow tall when movement shifts elsewhere. This structure allows the plains to support movement over long periods. The The result is a landscape of constantly changing opportunities. Recovery begins as soon as moisture and time become available. The vegetation survives through flexibility rather than permanent abundance. Repeated pressure shapes the height and density of the grass. Some patches remain short because they are used again and again. It hides the surface and makes every movement appear more uncertain. Tall grass changes the visual character of the open plains. Often the safest response is to recognize danger early and avoid confrontation completely. Yet survival is not always about fighting. Movement through the landscape leaves a visible mark. Hooves press trails into the earth and open routes used by many other animals. Feeding changes the height of grass and the pattern of vegetation across the plains. Seeds cling to fur, pass through digestive systems, and travel far from where they began. Herbivores do not simply live in the savannah, they continually reshape it. Their presence influences plants, insects, birds, and the predators that follow them. Every herd becomes part of a much larger network of life. A grazing animal may appear focused only on the ground, yet its actions affect the entire ecosystem. converting vegetation into movement and energy, herbivores support countless other lives. Their daily routines help keep the grasslands open and productive. Nothing they do is completely separate from the land beneath them. Even their resting places become part of the landscape cycle. Social life can be calm one moment and tense the next. Access to food, water, space, and mates can create competition within the group. Many disagreements are settled through posture and display rather than physical conflict. A warning gesture may save both animals from injury. Knowing when to yield is as important as knowing when to stand firm. Strength on the savannah includes control as well as power. Some individuals prefer the center of the herd, while others remain near the edge. Position changes according to age, confidence, and immediate risk. The strongest individuals often become most valuable when the group is under pressure. Such systems are especially important for mothers with young. A mother must divide her attention between feeding and guarding. The presence of the herd gives her more time to meet her own needs. Protection continues long after the first steps. Her strength is essential to the survival of her offspring. Raising a young animal requires energy across many months or years. The young gradually gain independence, but they still rely on social knowledge. Distance from the mother increases as confidence develops. Small explorations become preparation for adult life. Each successful return reinforces familiarity with the group. Nearby adults can provide additional warning. Growing up is a gradual expansion of the known world. These lessons reduce future conflict. The calf learns which animals are tolerant and which should be avoided. Social boundaries become clearer through repeated encounters. Minor corrections from adults help shape appropriate behavior. Understanding rank and distance helps individuals move safely within the herd. Social intelligence can be as important as physical strength. The most successful animals often know when to approach and when to yield. These giants do not need to hurry to command attention. Their size alone changes the behavior of everything nearby. Across the African savannah, the giants of the grasslands move with a presence that reshapes every scene around them. Their enormous bodies seem to belong to the landscape itself, rising above grass, dust, and distant horizons. The result is a fluid system of mutual protection. Each step carries weight, purpose, and the quiet confidence of animals built to endure. From towering browsers to heavily built grazers, every species has mastered a different way of surviving on the plains. The open savanna gives them space to travel, feed, rest, and gather beneath the vast African sky. Life as a predator is neither constant victory nor endless violence. It is a demanding existence built on endurance, awareness, failure, and occasional success. Across the African savanna, every hunter continues the same ancient struggle to find food and survive another day. Across the savanna, a predator's day is shaped as much by uncertainty as by hunger. The search for opportunity often begins with long periods of quiet movement through familiar territory. Calls can travel across the open plains and define boundaries over great distances. Every decision must balance the promise of food against the risk of wasted energy. A hunter may travel for hours without finding a moment worth pursuing. Predators survive by making fewer mistakes than the conditions around them allow. A calm posture can hide intense concentration and constant sensory awareness. ears, eyes and nose work together to build a picture of the unseen landscape. Scent carried on the wind can reveal prey, rivals, water or recent danger. Tracks in dust or mud provide information long after the animal that made them has moved on. Fresh signs may redirect a hunter before any living target comes into view. Territory gives a predator access to familiar routes, shelter and potential feeding grounds. Maintaining that territory requires regular movement and careful attention to intruders. Scent marks communicate ownership without the need for immediate confrontation. Patrolling may appear slow and uneventful, but it helps prevent costly surprise encounters. A river's surface shows only a fraction of the journey taking place within it. Below the reflections, moving water continues to transport material across the plains. Sediment builds new bars while cutting away older banks. These slow changes create habitat without any single dramatic moment. Water reshapes the savannah through persistence rather than force alone. A gentle current repeated over time can alter the direction of an entire channel. Floods accelerate processes that normally unfold over years. When water spreads across low ground, familiar landmarks may disappear beneath the surface. Temporary islands form wherever the land rises above the flood. As water falls, new patterns of mud and vegetation are left behind. Flooded grasslands often recover with a different texture from the land around them. Fresh sediment can make one section of the plain more productive than another. The memory of flooding remains visible after the current has gone. Lines of debris can mark the highest point reached by the water. Bent vegetation reveals the direction from which the flow arrived. Dry channels preserve the shape of earlier water even in the hottest months. These channels wait silently until another storm gives them movement. Brief flow can carry enough moisture to support life long after the surface dries. The Savannah contains many rivers that exist only for part of the year. Their temporary nature does not reduce their ecological importance. Hidden reserves can feed vegetation far from any visible pool. Water sinking into sand may continue moving underground. Two birds flying together must match speed, direction, and timing. It can also reveal a level of cooperation built through repeated experience. Their formation changes as the wind and terrain change below. Groups traveling together often use loose formations rather than a single fixed pattern. Individuals shift position as fatigue and airflow change. Those behind may benefit from air disturbed by the birds ahead. Rotation within the group can distribute effort over a long journey. Shared flight can help maintain contact across large spaces. Collective travel is shaped by both physics and social behavior. A flock may stretch across the sky and then compress when conditions change. Wide spacing gives room to maneuver during calm travel. Tighter spacing helps the group react together when danger appears. Young birds learn these movements by following more experienced individuals. Early flights are often shorter, less controlled, and closer to shelter. Flexibility keeps the flock connected without making it rigid. The pattern can change several times within a single flight. Confidence grows through repeated takeoffs and landings. Each successful movement adds to the bird's understanding of distance and wind. Juveniles must also recognize where they can safely rest. Experience teaches which places become dangerous at certain times of day. Learning continues long after the first flight. Not every branch, rock or patch of ground offers equal protection. Life prepares for the future even while the present remains harsh. At midday, tree shadows shrink and the sun reaches almost every part of the ground. By late afternoon, those shadows stretch outward once again. The changing shade becomes a moving refuge across the dry plain. As the sun lowers, bark and branches take on deep tones of gold and copper. Even in drought, the trees give the landscape shape, contrast, and character. At sunset, their silhouettes become symbols of endurance against the glowing sky. Night brings cooler air, allowing plants to reduce the pressure created by daytime heat. Some species use the darkness to exchange gases with less water loss. Before sunrise, a trace of dew may settle on leaves and dry branches. These tiny droplets disappear quickly, but every source of moisture has value. The dry season is not a lifeless pause, it is a period of hidden survival. Roots hold their ground, seeds remain patient, and trunks guard stored reserves. Across the African plains, the dry season reveals not the weakness of trees, but the extraordinary strategies that keep them alive. When the first true rains arrive, the response can be remarkably fast. Every tree is waiting for the moment when the sky finally changes. bare branches begin to carry new leaves and faded crowns regain their colour. The trees that endured the drought become the foundation of the savannah's recovery. Across the open country, trunks rise from the dust like weathered pillars holding up the horizon. The dry season sharpens every outline, turning each tree into a bold silhouette against the bleached African sky. With every week without rain, the canopy grows thinner and the sky becomes more visible through the branches. Sunlight pours through gaps in the foliage and reaches ground that remained shaded only months before. The season removes excess growth, revealing the rugged structure that keeps each tree standing. The first cool air settles over the grass and reduces the day's harshness. Photosynthesis slows as the final light weakens. Flowering plants may release stronger fragrances after dusk. The atmosphere grows richer with signals invisible to the eye. After a hot day, evening can make the land seem newly refreshed. Plants lose less moisture as direct sunlight disappears. Leaves that were folded or angled against the heat may relax. Even the soil gives off a different scent as temperatures fall. The vegetation begins its own transition into the night. The savannah remains biologically active beneath the darkening sky. Trees continue exchanging moisture and air with their surroundings. The end of daylight does not mean the end of plant activity. Their sounds build gradually as daylight fades. roots and tissues continue processes hidden from view. The last warmth may release insects from shaded places. Sunset simply changes which processes dominate. Other insects become active only after the sun has gone. A quiet chorus begins to replace the calls of daytime birds. The soundscape of evening develops in layers. Some voices disappear, while others become more frequent. Each journey ends somewhere, but the movement of life continues. The savannah teaches that survival is built from patience, memory, and endurance. Every distant horizon hides another chapter waiting to unfold. The African plains continue to change, yet their spirit remains unbroken. The quiet after struggle is only a pause before the next beginning. Life on the savannah is fragile, but never without strength. Across the open land, every creature continues to follow the ancient call of survival. Another day may be over, but the savannah remains awake in countless unseen ways. It continues, in the darkness, in the wind, and in the lives still moving across the plains. The cycle of life continues, as it has for generations beyond number. And across the African savannah, the wilderness moves forward into another day. The story does not end when the sun disappears beyond the horizon.